If you're new to the Spectra S1 electric breast pump, then stick around because in this video I am going to walk you through all the different components that make up the Spectra S1, the different settings, how to assemble it, as well as how to use the Spectra S1. So let's start by having a look at all these different parts, because there does seem to be a lot, but it is pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. So first you have your pump motor. Now this is the brain of your pump. This is what creates and drives your suction. On here you can see that you have an LED screen and you have a few buttons which are to operate your breast pump. You then also have a charging cord. Now, the thing I love about the Spectra S1 and what makes it slightly different to the Spectra S2 is that this also has a rechargeable battery to it. So you do not have to have this plugged in order to operate it. As long as you have your battery charged, it will last for around 3 hours just using the battery, which is great because it adds this portability to the S1. Next, you have your little units here. Now, I will pull these apart. You have, to show you all the different components, you have your tubing. We have on here your backflow protector. Now this is to stop any breast milk from getting inside your tubing. This is a closed system pump, which means that you don't need to worry about breast milk and bacteria causing any issues for your baby in here. It is a nice, clean, hygienic type of breast pump. So this backflow protector basically stops the breast milk backflowing into your tubing. You then have your bottle. Now this comes with a bottle cap, a nipple, as well as a bottle neck to hold your nipple in place. You then have your, if I can get it out, your valve, and this is a duckbill valve. So you will see as this is pumping, it will open and close. These do need to get regularly replaced. So see how you can see this is starting to slightly open. Every few months you'll need to replace these so you get that very secure suction seal. Once it starts to open a little bit, you'll find that the suction tends to lessen, and these will need to get replaced. Then you have your breast shield. Now this comes with a 24 millimeter flange size. Now this is really important when it comes to your breast pump. You are going to want to make sure that you have the correct size flange. Now I like to use the nipple ruler for this. You basically want to make sure that you are not getting too much or too little of your nipple and areola into the flange because this will start to cause pain and potentially damage. So having the correct flange size is really important. If you have, say, a 24 millimeter flange like I do here, but you need a smaller size, you can get a flange insert which sits inside and reduces the funnel size here. You can also purchase a larger breast shield if you need. All right, so these are our components. Now, how does this all go back together? Let's start with your backflow protector. Now, this actually comes apart. There are 3 different parts to this. You've got your diaphragm and then the 2 connector pieces. Again, this is important to know so you can wash these out, pull it apart and wash it out, and also potentially these will need to get replaced at some point as well. So how these go back together, you are going to want to line up your smaller connector piece with your diaphragm and it slots in there, but there is actually a little lip on this that you are going to want to lift up and over and push that seal up around the connector piece. And then run your fingers around it. Now, again, with any breast pump, having an adequate seal is so important. This is what will help create that vacuum for your suction. If you have a little bit of an a leak in the seal, then you're not going to be creating that vacuum as you need. So one thing I like to always point out is if you're having issues with your vacuum, make sure that you check your parts are all have a secure seal, and if there is any damage. So again, I pointed out with your duckbill valve, you do regularly need to replace these parts to maintain that suction. So just something to keep in mind as a handy tip. Once you have your diaphragm attached to the connector, we're going to want to connect the other piece, and that simply pushes in. So you can test it, just give it a little pull and make sure that that is all in firmly. So we'll put that aside for a moment. We're going to grab our breast shield and we're going to want to attach our duckbill valve to the bottom. That simply pushes on. Again, you're looking for that nice firm fit. Then you can attach your breast shield to your bottle. That simply screws in. Now with your backflow protector, you'll see that there are two different sizes for the connection pieces. It only goes in one way. That smaller side will not fit. The larger side goes onto the back end of your breast shield. And then we are going to want to attach your tubing to the smaller end. These can be a bit tricky. It is a really tight fit, which is great. That is what you want. So now we have our two collection containers all completed. You are going to want to attach them to your breast pump. Now you can see on here that I actually have a little cover. Now this cover is removable, and this is, they're actually really tricky, especially if you're doing it one-handed. These are on there to help you if you want to do either a single or a double-sided pump. So if you only want to have a single-sided pump, you push that down and only attach one of your tubing and containers to it. If you want to do a double-sided pump, then you simply attach both tubings to your pump motor. All right, so we are set up now for double pumping with our Spectra S2. So let's take a look at how your Spectra actually works. So you've got your power button here. We are going to want to turn that on. Now there are two modes to your Spectra pumps. You have a massage mode, which is for your initiating your letdown. So it's the initial part of your pumping where your milk flow starts to come in. And then you have your expression mode, and this is longer drawn out pumps, and this is to draw out your milk. So we always start on the expression mode. Now this is set to 70 cycles per minute. These are short, sharp pumps to really initiate that letdown. And you know that this is on because you can see these little waves up the top. And you'll also notice that you cannot change your cycle settings. So it is set on the 70 cycles per minute, and you can see the waves. You can, however, on this massage mode, change your vacuum strength. So you can hear that really does increase your suction strength. I do recommend that you start low until you reach your comfort level. So you can slowly increase it to a level that you are comfortable with. You don't need to have the strongest suction setting to produce an adequate amount of milk. It is simply what is your comfort level for as well drawing out your milk. Once we have your letdown in, so around 2 minutes, I then recommend we swap over to your expression mode. Now you can see on here that there is actually a timer, so this will tell us when we can swap over. So we're at our 2 minutes. Let's change over to the expression mode. Now there are 5 different cycles. Now it starts at a 38, so these are really long, drawn out suctions, and you can increase it to 54 suctions per minute, which are a little bit shorter and in time. It really depends on what works best for you into what setting you choose. And again, you can increase your vacuum strength, suction strength. The thing I love about this is you can actually go up to 12 different suction strengths. And you can hear that this is a lot more powerful. So again, it's just working out what is most comfortable for you, as well as what produces the most amount of milk for you and your comfort level. It is going to be different for everybody. Now you can see on here as well that I have a battery symbol. So I am down to 1 bar, which means that this will need to be recharged soon. The other thing I love about this, if you can see, is that it has a light. So it has a single, and then it gets a little bit stronger, and then 3 taps and it turns off. Now, one thing I didn't point out which I probably should have, when you are putting your pump together, one way to test it is to see that this diaphragm is moving in and out. And that will tell you that your suction is working how it should. Now, once you have finished your cycle, so you are going to want to have your breast pump upright during your expressing, and I probably should have said this at the start, sorry, and I didn't. Imagine my hand is your breast. When you are first putting on your pump, you are going to want to make sure that it is upright and that your nipple is aligned centrally. This is for protecting your nipple and making sure that you get a really good suction on there. When it is time to come off, you are going to want to lean slightly forward and bring your finger in and gently break the seal and then remove your pump. Now, the great thing about the Spectras is if you are double pumping, you can simply do one at a time. You can snugly put your spare bottle in here while you are fiddling around with removing the tops, putting on your bottle cap, and sorting out your pump pieces. So you can do one at a time, which helps to reduce any spillage. So I love this little handy holder there. Once you have your bottles dealt with, then you are going to want to remove all the parts that have come into contact with your breast milk and give them a rinse and sterilize. So we simply take off the tubing. The tubing does not need to be washed. In fact, you do not want to get any water within your tubing. Again, that is what this backflow protector is for. You pull all the pieces apart and give them a rinse, and then can look to sterilize. And one thing I do highly recommend at this stage is to also put your pump back onto charge so you have that battery available when you need it. I hope this helps. If you have liked this video or and got something out of it, I would love it if you could like it for me. It really does help. And if you would love to see more of these how-to breast pump tutorials and reviews, then hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about how to use the Spectra S2 pump, then please ask. I will do my very best to answer them for you. Thanks.